Welcome to Like a Bomb, a podcast about powerful women from the past and present.
Not fragile like a flower.
Fragile like a bomb. Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of Like a Bomb. I'm Bailey.
I'm Jiller, Mom, and if you hear a little purring, that's little Finny.
Yeah, Finn has come to hang out with us, and I am cold, so I'm hiding under a cat blanket.
Yeah, I'm cold too, but that's okay. I have a Finny in my lap, and he's keeping me warm.
That's true. I also have very poofy hair, as when I don't, because I don't care for it on the weekends when I record. So I wear a hat. But yeah, it's February 17th. It's, past Valentine's Day. Hope everyone had a good one, or Galentine's Day, I guess, on February 13th.
Yeah, I hope. No idea. It's a Friday. Friday? So
It's a Friday.
it'll be chaos as always.
Yeah.
Always.
Um,
I have no hair.
yeah, you cut a lot of it off.
I have a couple little pink ends left, but all the colors gone pretty much.
Yeah, my hair's been turning slowly white since I was 7.
Yeah, mine's turning very white. Not gray, just white.
They make it more fun to dye. That's what I'm excited about, because gingers tend to go white, and I have a bunch of white hairs that I find every now and then, and it's like, okay, this will be easy to dye.
Actually, it holds dye differently.
It does, but you just still need to use a little bit of bleach to open up the pores and then dye. You don't have to use as much to strip the color off.
I'm hoping that I don't have to dye it anymore because it's so much to maintain. And since it's going white, I'm just going to let it roll. Just let my old people hair come and wear it as a badge of honor because I have 2 weeks till my birthday.
Yeah.
I don't like this one. This one hurts.
Why does this one hurt?
I think because it's also happening the year that I'm 30 years from my high school graduation. Is that just 30 years? That's a really long time.
That's a really long time.
The 90s really don't seem like they were that long ago.
I
know you were born in the 90s and I know how old you are, but still.
Yeah.
They'll add 5 years and that's where, yeah, not ready.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I guess. Me also being born in the 90s, it hasn't even been 10 years since I graduated high school yet.
Yeah, not sure if that makes me feel older or younger yet.
I don't know. But it's funny, I've had past coworkers, I mentioned what year I'm born, they're like, I graduated high school around that time. It's like, okay, and? I can't help when I was born and when you were born.
Well, that's how I remember how long it's been since I graduated or how old Rachel is, because it's the same year, and that's the only way I can remember both of them. So, I mean, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I just can't believe it's almost 30 years. I had to, one of my friends that I work with, she and I have a birthday that's like 2 months apart. And we're already going, 48, it's going to be hard. And then somebody was saying something about high school and stuff. And I went up to her and I was like, it's been 30 years this year. And she's like, I didn't. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, 30 years. But that's okay. When you get to be a certain age, you get to measure things by decades, which is kind of cool.
It's also weird. Like, I've reached the point that I can kind of do that because I'm in my 20s.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think of you both as being these little tiny people that I know
don't think
aren't
that's ever
little
going to
tiny
change.
that aren't little tiny people. But
No, I'm bigger than you.
yeah, but you have little baby hands.
My hands aren't that baby.
No, but they look like baby hands, and your hands will always look like baby hands. Like your sister's hands will always look like old people hands because they always had since she was born. They're long and skinny, and yours are cute and have the little wrinkles like little babies do.
Okay.
As everybody is now looking at their own hands, going, well, what do I have? Old people hands or baby hands?
Conveniently, my hands are hiding underneath a blanket.
Mine are under a cat.
I would prefer that. Finn is very soft.
I have Grammy's hands. But my feet are freaky. I have one daddy's foot and one mom's foot. Yes, they really truly look very, very different.
My feet look more like yours.
Yes, your sisters look more like the Garris toes.
Yes, they do.
So now that you know all about our hands and our feet and have no idea why you care about any of this information.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yes. Uh-oh, there's a Finn leaving. Uh-oh.
Bye-bye, Finn.
I don't know. Maybe he heard we are starting to get more used to the ghost sounds in the house where we only pay attention sometimes now.
How much is Mr. Ghost using his Ghost of Mr. using his scratching board?
Quite often, generally every night, at least at some point. But we ignore it a little bit more and more each time. It's the big things where it sounds like a whole piece of furniture fell and we're running downstairs and I'm searching the entire house and poor Finn has got puff tail and puff back until he sees that I've cleared the entire house. He can't relax. And Brody's just kind of staying up here. At least Finn goes to try and investigate, but then he's got puffy hair everywhere, and I'm having to clear the house.
Big. He's got to protect his mama.
Yeah, well, I'm the one clearing the house, going, okay, I need a weapon because it sounds like somebody's in the house. And then all three of us are like, okay, let's just go back upstairs and hide.
It's under the blanket.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
There was one of the lights was on. The living room light. I never go in the living room. Ever go in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
What day was it? It was last week or two. I went in there, came downstairs in the morning, and the living room light was on. And I'm like, I don't even go in there. So I didn't turn it on. Nobody else was here. It was the cats, and they don't even come in that part of the house. So I don't know.
Magic.
Yes. I kind of just stay in my room. It's safer here. Maybe? I don't know. I'm next to the attic, so I don't know. Could be worse. Know. Could be scary.
I'm over the master bedroom because my office was the 2-story. These other bedrooms, one's over the patio and one's over the master, and so we chose mine to be one over the master since I don't stay up as late.
Ah, smart.
That way
yeah. And you get up earlier generally.
Yeah. Or that way someone doesn't sleep in too much.
Yeah, well, not certain someone. I've seen pictures of completely asleep, half on the bed, half off the bed.
That's true.
Ugh, I don't understand. I mean, I look at my sleep app thing on how I slept, and I can tell, one, I wake up because I'm a woman of a certain age, but also I have the cats that are convinced if they don't see their mother that they are dying. So you can see where they have woken me up throughout the night, and it's hilarious to go, yep, I remember that being them. Yep. And oh, look, they were yelling at me for 10 minutes here.
I checked that on my little Fitbit of when I sleep because I'm always curious about it. Of course, it's not the most accurate. It's a guesstimation game based off other data and whatnot. But it's really funny and kind of sad when it gets closer to the morning, how you can see me go from awake to light to back and forth just because my neck is uncomfortable or the opposite. Yeah, my neck has been a pain. And the tattoo did not help. Oh my god. The edge of my collarbone, shading there in one of the snakes of the Medusa. Whew. That spot was just... I was cold, so I was shaking because it was cold. And that right edge of the bone, in that little crook,
was just... see now if my dogwoods go that far.
Yeah. It was going up my neck, that sensation. I was like, I can't lean into it because then I'm going to hit the machine.
Yeah, because my dogwoods
I'll point it out to you
My
after
dog
we're
would
done
still go that
recording,
far.
pulling down my shirt.
My dog would still go that so far, but
Yeah,
and I haven't got.
my Medusa does. I'm close to my armpit. That one wasn't that bad. It
I
was
feel
the
like that would
collarbone
tickle.
spot.
I feel like
Hmm?
that close to my armpit because it's such sensitive skin there. I feel like it would
Mm-hmm.
tickle more than it would hurt. And I know there was a nerve he kept hitting on my foot with one of the ones on top of my feet, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my toes are like spasming, and I'm like, you can't move, you can't move, you can't move, you can't move.
Yeah, there was one spot on my shoulder, also like not bone or the armpit spot, that made my arm spaz a little because I'm just like, why?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think the only one I can remember that I spazzed on was the ones on the top of my feet. But I don't know. I have no money to get more tattoos, but I need to get like 3 touched up, and I want my half sleeve so bad. I just need somebody to draw it.
My semicolon is barely there. It looks like a colon.
Yeah, there's certain
Barely.
places that are just
It's behind my ear.
but you scrub there.
Yeah, I know.
It's a place you scrub.
I also got my conch piercing, so that bar goes out pretty far back. So I'm gonna have to get that touched up once the piercing heals.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my recent body mods. I now have
Yes.
21 tattoos.
I'm at 26 or 27.
Okay,
Something
well, I
like
have
that.
2 more planned, so I won't catch up with
know.
you quite yet.
I have no money. I have an expensive house.
I have
That
a dual income, no kids house.
Yes, I have an expensive house with my income and a ghost who is a freeloader.
It's Mister.
Well, he's a freeloader, so
He's
needs
just
to get
scratching
a
his scratch
job.
post. He's
He
doing
needs
his
to
happy
get-
things next to his mommy.
And apparently knocking over furniture and turning lights on.
That wouldn't. I don't think that's him, unless he's trying to make a big nuisance somehow. But that would be socks, I think, if anything.
I don't know. I have a feeling that the person who was last here, based on some of the mail that we've gotten and the fact of I'm pretty sure that person died here. Because, yeah. Wishing them the best in the afterlife, but please go
That
there.
explains the bang, because they're not used to that furniture setup.
Yeah, please go somewhere. Go to the light. Please.
I can't help the resolve business.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready?
As ready as I can be, yeah. My
Okay.
person. Oh, this blanket. My person this week is. Oh gosh, where's her name? Dr. Mary Putnam Jacobi. And she was the first woman to become a member of the Academy of Medicine. She was born August 31st, 1842, and died June 10th, 1906. She was an English-American physician, teacher, scientist, writer, and suffragist. She was the first woman admitted to study medicine at the University of Paris and the first woman to graduate from a pharmacy college in the United States.
Hey, did you say she died on your sister's birthday?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So she had a long career practicing medicine, teaching, writing, advocating for women's rights, especially in medicinal education. I had to think about that word. Her scientific rebuttal on the popular idea demonstration made women unsuited to education was influential in the fight for women's educational opportunities. She was a founding member of the League for Political Education and the Women's Medical Association of New York City, and was inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame in 1993. She was born, like I said, in 1842 in London, England, to American parents George Palmer Putnam and Victorine Haven Putnam. Her parents returned to America in 1848. Mary spent her childhood and adolescence in New York and was first educated at home by her mother, later at a private school in Yonkers, and then at a public school in Manhattan. At age 17, Mary published an essay in Atlantic Monthly, April 1860. Throughout her life, she penned both political essays and fiction, but is best known for her career in medicine, in over 120 scientific articles and 9 books.
Wow.
Mary Putnam studied at the New York College of Pharmacy in 1861 and received her MD from the Female, later Women's, Medical College of Pennsylvania in 1864. She convinced the faculty to allow her to sit on examinations early, and in protest over the special allowances made for her, Dean Edwin Fussell resigned after graduation. Anne Preston, who had argued for Putnam's early examination, took over his post as America's first woman dean of a medical school. Putnam got her first chance to practice medicine from a fellow graduate, Marie Zakrzewska. The best I have on her name. And Marie founded the New England Hospital for Women and Children in Boston in 1862. In 1866, Putnam moved to Paris to further her medical training and supported coeducation for men and women, arguing that women's medical schools could not provide the same training and clinical practice at an established universities affiliated with large hospitals. Soon she returned to Soon she returned to New York and organized the Association for the Advancement of the Medical Education of Women, later the Women's Medical Association of New York City, in 1872. Serving as its president from 1874 to 1903, and during that same period, she lectured at the Women's Medical College of the New York Infirmary for Women and Children, as lecturer on Materia Medica from 1871 and professor of Materia Medica and Therapeutics from 1873 to 1899. She helped raise educational standards. Putnam married Dr. Abraham Jacobi in 1873, later called the father of American pediatrics. He was instrumental in negotiating her admittance to the medical societies of New York, mostly likely because he was a well-off man and she was a woman, and sexism, again, still rampant. The Jacobis had 3 children, though their first daughter died at birth and their only son died at age 7. In 1876, Dr. Mary Jacobi's essay, The Question of Rest for Women During Menstruation, won the Boylston Prize at Harvard University. In this influential paper, she refuted the supposed physical limitations of women. In response to Dr. Edward H. Clarke's publication, Sex and Education, or A Fair Chance for the Girls, 1873, which questioned the expanded role of women in society and the professions. Dr. Jacobi provided tables, statistics, and sphygmographic tracings of pulse rate, force, and variations to illustrate the stability of a woman's breath, strength, and agility throughout her monthly cycle. Both her paper and her example offered irrefutable proof of the accuracy of her position. Not only proving that, 1, she deserves to be in this medical field, and that women are very much equal in the ability to learn medicine and be educated. As an attending and consulting physician, Mary Jacobi opened a children's ward at the New York Infirmary in 1886. She became a member of the New York Pathological Society and the New York Academy of Medicine, memberships that were vital to securing jobs and colleagues' respect. Dr. Jacobi's admission to the Academy of Medicine, earned by a majority of 1 vote, made her the Society's first female member. Before her death at age 63, Jacobi wrote a detailed account on her illness, description of the early symptoms of the meningeal tumor compressing the cerebellum, from which the writer died, written by herself. Many prominent physicians, including William Osler and Emmy Blackwell, honored her at her funeral. And that is the most information that you can get on her. There's other smaller details, I'm sure. But that was Mary Putnam Jacobi, and went out very much with a bang, I'd say, writing that title. This is what's killing me, and I'm studying it.
Well, I mean, let's see. In the 1800s, they were still using leeches and bleeding you to see if they could lower your blood pressure. So, I mean, women doing medicine is unheard of.
Yes.
But I'm curious of the menstrual cycle. needing, okay, she's saying we don't need rest then, or we do need rest then?
I did not read into that article. I just know the title.
But based on what she's doing, like she ran tests to show how we are, but that we can do anything that a man can do. I'm assuming we don't need rest. I don't know that we need rest during
We
that
technically
time
do need to rest more during our
because
period
our
because we've lost blood.
blood.
But that's more. We also need to eat more and drink more.
Well, you're supposed to
But
do the calorie like overload before you start. Like your body naturally makes you hungrier and crave more
yes.
junk ahead of time.
Oh, I know.
So, yeah. And
But
hydrate.
that is the gist of her life. I hope I didn't speak too fast. There isn't
No.
a whole lot. I mean, some
Well,
women do amazing, great things, and there isn't a whole lot to talk about on them.
unfortunately, the written word has been around for a long time, but it's what was written before a certain time. It's not all, you can't just find it. It's not like all on the internet.
No. I'm sure
And
you can find some of her articles online, especially her big one on women's menstrual process and that we are capable, since that is one of her most well known works.
well, it's what has kept women off the front lines for eons because we can't handle both. I don't know. Give somebody on their period a gun, and I bet you they're going to handle a lot more than you think they are.
We can handle a lot of crap because we have to handle our periods.
Yeah. I mean, most things that bleed for 5 to 7 days die. So there's always
Yes,
that awful joke.
that's a terrible joke.
Speaking of old written works, I saw something. I don't know if this is actually a true thing, but it seems kind of smart. I saw there's like a bookstore or a library in Ireland where they lock you in a cage to read the old books so that you don't accidentally walk off with these very rare publications.
You know, that is smart,
I was like,
regardless if it's
that's,
real or not.
I know, it sounds pretty smart. I'm like, I don't know if this is real because they're locking you in a cage, and that seems
So when are we
like
going to
this.
Ireland? When you free?
I don't even know. And who's going to watch the boys?
I know.
I need a cat. They're more than cats. They're like little tiny babies.
They are little babies. They very much still suckle on you.
They do, and they do think that like when they know it's me, like they make a point when I pull up to look out the window, and if they have to move their head to see if it's really me or somebody else. If it's me, they're happy in there. If it's somebody else, they'll just be like, whatever. Ah, little monsters. Okay, my story was because a student asked me to cover this topic, but the topic they're actually asking me to cover doesn't exist. So I kind of had to go from there. So I'm doing women's American football, tackle football, not football or soccer, American tackle football. So I had a student say, "Hey, you know Disney owns the NFL now?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that. I will." Well, can you do a story about, because they're gonna make women be on the teams? I was like, okay, I'll look into it. So the only article that there is out there that you can find where Disney owns the NFL. Oh, and they also own the Kansas City Chiefs, according to this another article from the same publication. The publication is Mousetrap News, so it's a Mickey Mouse. It's Disney publication known for its satire and jokes. So there is a
Ah,
very,
so
very
it's the Onion,
believable
but
article.
Disney.
There's a very, very believable article out there that says that Disney owns the Kansas City Chiefs. However, Lamar Hunt's for children with son Clark Hunt as chairman and CEO actually own the Kansas City Chiefs. And there is also an article that says that Disney bought the NFL, which, being that the NFL is the NFL, it is not ownable. it is a system that can only exist for as long as the teams continue to play within the system. Each team has owners or owners, and those are starting to become more corporately run. Apparently, they're not staying like within a family or a couple of people. They're becoming run more by corporations. However, being that all little pieces have separate owners, nobody can own the entire thing because it's just a system that runs the teams within the system, if that makes sense. But the article did say that Disney was going to require all NFL teams to have a minimum of 5 women players, not all kickers. At least each female player must start at least one game a season, and at least one woman on each coaching staff. Well, since this is just not impossible for anybody to own the NFL, Disney cannot actually require women to be on NFL teams. However, I do think that there should be more chances for women in the NFL because, let's see, are women actually even eligible to play? Yes, they are. Your requirements to join the NFL is you have to have 3 years out of high school. Okay, check. I'm on that. Ability to play the game at a professional level. I'm gonna die now. Okay, no. So, and for draft purposes, you have to have used up your college eligibility before the next season to be eligible for the draft. So that's the actual requirements to be eligible for the NFL. So technically, if you can throw, run, tackle, all the things at a professional level, no matter if you are male, female, alien, it doesn't matter. There are no requirements against gender. There are no restrictions for gender. And even if there were, with the passage of Title IX in 1972, it's a federal civil rights law, mainly focused on education, part of education amendments. It prohibits sexual discrimination in all educational programs and activities that receive federal funds, which, hey, everything's about to lose all federal funds. So what does that mean?
That has been overruled, but Trump did say he was going to bring it back.
He's going to bring it back. There is this, against sexual harassment. Women athletes get equal opportunities to participate in sports, whether it is collegiate or professional. You can go try out for any professional football team you want. Go for the Commanders, what are they called down? Panthers. There we go. I've completely forgot. However, I will say the biggest thing is that everybody says is that women are smaller, so they're not going to get insurance. So even if they made the team, they will not be insured to play the game.
Some coaches also just may be sexist and just not consider you, and in a way that you can't actually prove it.
Yes, and I agree completely wholeheartedly with that. And my hair's doing something really weird all of a sudden.
Apparently you need a hat like me.
I think I have a horn or something. I don't know what's happening. But even if you were offered a contract, that does not mean that the insane insurance that you have to have on you to be able to even play a professional sport, that you would even be able to get somebody to insure you, which, unfortunate, is a reality in that. Hopefully things will get better, but there is that. So far, no woman has ever participated in any official plays for any of the 32 professional teams. So let's talk about the history of women in American professional tackle football. So, and let's talk about, real quick. In 1920, 10 teams, words are very hard. 10 teams gathered in Ohio to start the NFL, which originally was called the American Professional Football Association. And do you know it's really hard to abbreviate association and not make it look like you're a donkey? Okay. In 1926, the NFL, this actually was the American Professional Football Association before it was the NFL, but the same association. So anyhow, The Frankfurt Yellow Jackets versus the Chicago Cardinals. There was a halftime entertainment where two Yellow Jacket players, male players, played against a women's team. This was most likely for publicity, and probably was a contest for people to win in, and this team got picked. Very likely similar events were happening at other professional games throughout the U.S. of letting women play as a gimmick with two professional football players. The 1920s, women were more freely able to use sporting fields previously dominated by men. Just happened to be a time where things were changing. This is Prohibition. This is the time of flappers. Like, there was a little bit more women were pushing the standards, which, yes, absolutely. They got the right. They have the right to vote. They're going crazy out there, going, "Hey, there's a football field. I'm gonna go play," which they should have been able to, but sometimes it's scary to push back against when there's so many people on that against side. Like, playing Red Rover, it was kind of scary when you're coming running at a sea of people you knew were just going to throw you back. It was kind of scary. Granted, I don't think they let you have that fun anymore.
No,
But
I don't think it's allowed to be played in elementary school anymore.
no, but I think dodgeball's illegal. Swings are taken out of
Dodgeball,
parks.
you have to use the foam balls. They don't use the rubber.
Y'all are just setting up for soft society. Ugh.
Okay,
Anyhow, in the 1930s, there were two women's football teams, two Ohio businessmen, Herman Metzger and Dick Lazette, recruited and coached the teams. They borrowed uniforms from youth leagues. So they played a series of brainstorming games. And when I tried Googling what that meant, couldn't find anything that was very clear on what a brainstorming games were. So these games for these two teams, they did make money. But the games began getting canceled because it was now becoming considered not a proper women's sport. The first lady wrote our lovely businessman Herman and Dick, and she was like, so it was possible that maybe you're making money off women and playing football was just not quite acceptable. And when I looked at a lot of this stuff, it's like, well, maybe she wasn't saying that women shouldn't be playing, that maybe they were saying they shouldn't be playing in this way. And that's what looks more like it was. If these are women that are wearing youth uniforms, they're probably pretty small women, which means they may have been picked not necessarily because of their ability to play the game, but because they looked cute in the uniforms. So not saying that's right. And I'm not saying that the women that chose to try out and were not passionate about the actual sport, but they may have been the ones picked because they were smaller and more petite, and looked good running around the field. Of course, there was also the fear and risk that women would lose their women qualities in a dangerous sport.
Oh no, I
So,
suddenly don't have the ability to wear makeup or dresses, I guess. We're going to stick to those feminine ones.
well, also, they were talking about their ability to bear children
I know, that's not going to
physically.
happen. It's not how that works.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, you hit somebody hard enough in the right place, maybe. But no, playing football.
It's not like male anatomy.
No, there's some damage you can do pretty
But it's
hard.
not the same external
no.
sex organ that will
no.
be easy to damage by the
No.
weight of another woman. They
No.
have rugby and they're not wearing
Pads.
cups or things.
Yeah. Well,
Equivalent.
also, I played tackle football for a long time, on and off, all over the place. And I'm aggressive and I play any sport, so.
Yes.
But basically, like, when it came down to when the first lady's saying, hey, maybe this shouldn't be happening, games started getting canceled. So they kind of had to say no. In 1965, the Women's Professional Football League, or WPFL, XFL was started by talent agent Sid Friedman in Cleveland, Ohio. A lot of this happens in Ohio area. Um, both male and female tackle football apparently got it started in like Ohio.
Nothing else to do
So
in Ohio, I guess.
yeah, so he started as a gimmick semi-pro tackle team, and it started as 2 teams, and it became 8 teams, including one team that was in Toronto. So we went outside the country. So they started out with 360 tried out, 90 making the cut. Um, so it was kind of like just a minor league kind of operation, but they did get some coverage and they slowly disappeared in the 70s. Um, and when you look back at stuff, it says that it kind of may have started disappearing because it was more exploitative. So basically the same idea. They were just exploiting women. I don't know that that's what was really happening, but these teams are being started by men, not by the women who want to play the sport. So that makes it more of a chance that it's very possible. And when some of these games are making money, that doesn't mean that the women were actually getting the money, which I also read that. So in August of 1970, Patricia, known as Pat, Palinkas was the first woman to play in a semi-professional football game. So the Orlando Panthers was a minor league. They hired her husband and wife team because he was a kicker, and he said he would only kick if the holder was his wife. So Steve was the husband, and he was a kicker, and wife Pat was the holder. So the first game that she played in, she said she bobbled the ball when it was tossed to her, passed to her. But they still ended up winning the game. After that game, Steve only played 2 more games due to an injury, and Pat only played a few more games after Steve left the game. She didn't want to hold the ball for anybody else, she said. She became an elementary school teacher, and he began as a salesman. Her advice to female athletes, because there's like many articles with her, is don't be afraid to try anything. But I mean, she played the game. She was out there. She did all the practices. Granted, she was a holder and he was a kicker. So as far as like game time, she wasn't out there like running plays, but she was on a semi-pro and she did play. So in 1972, like I said, the passage of Title IX, women were more able and permitted to form clubs, teams, and leagues to play football. Women players rarely did see themselves as fighting the patriarchy in the name of progress. They just wanted to play the game. It wasn't a political stance. It was I actually just want to play football. So I thought that was a very important thing that I saw, that it wasn't this big, like a lot of things that people, when you change your hair or you start wearing something or doing something or want to make a club, that's only girls are included or more feminine based, you're fighting the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Sometimes
The
it's just
anti-you.
sometimes you just want to do what it is that you're doing. Maybe there's not always a message. Granted, sometimes there is.
It's just to have fun a lot of the times.
Yeah. So, and I mean, tackle footballs can be fun. And I can't
haven't played since middle school. Right? No. Yes.
I don't remember the last time I played tackle
Played a lot of flag football in high school.
I'm an old person. I don't know. From 1974 to 1988, the formation of the National Women's Football League, starting with 7 teams. Women's were paid about $25 a game. They played in more rural areas, but they were televised in August of 1975. 1975, running back Linda Jeffers named Women's Sports Magazine first ever athlete of the year. In 2002, Linda was inducted into the Semi-Pro Football Hall of Fame. She was the first African-American woman and only one of 4 women inducted. In the late 70s, teams broke off to form other leagues. So that was like the first like real league.
That's cool.
And so from 2000 to 2018, there was the Independent Women's Football League. And 2009, the Women's Football Alliance, it's the largest 11 on 11 for women in the world, has 3 competitive levels: Pro, Division 2, Division 3. On the first season had 36 teams. Now they're up to 60 teams today. They have international programs in Europe, Africa, Central and Southern America.
Wow.
And I have a side note that says, I know I've always thought this was confusing. Like, if they say international, like, you think inter, you think inside, but it's the I, and inter means outside, and intra means inside. Like, intrastate, inside the country, interstate goes outside the anyhow. The difference between those two words, I don't know. I always thought that was
English lesson
I always thought that
from our
was
math
weird.
teacher.
I always thought that was weird. It drove me crazy. In 2009, the X League, which originally was the league, Lingerie Link, and then it was the Legends League, and now it is the X League. And I've heard some sketchy things about that, read some sketchy things about that particular league. I don't know. When I think X League, I think not X Files. Huh. X Games? Maybe
Yeah.
X Files? I don't know.
Apparently, subconsciously, X Files.
Apparently. That's just scary. And a little bit about women in college football. I know I talked about this whole point was like professional football, but there are some pretty interesting stats of things I saw that in 1997, Liz Houston was the first woman to score in college game. 2001, Ashley Martin was the first to score in championship division. 2003, Katie Nida was the first to score in a Division 1A game. And in 2019, Tony Harris was the first woman to receive a full college scholarship as a position other than a kicker. She's a safety.
Nice.
So there are, and that's just a stepping stone to professionalism. And yes, it is very different at the college level than it is the professional football. But we have all these things for soccer. We have all these things for basketball. And women don't usually, there's a league of their own and women baseball players, but women typically play softball versus baseball. They are different games. But there are all these other things for other games. And everything I read, it's because professional football is tackle, and so therefore it is more dangerous. Have you seen soccer? Have y'all really watched a soccer match? Because
especially men versus women in soccer.
Whoa.
Like, women are brutal.
Yeah.
Men just go, ooh, ouch, you barely touched me, I broke my leg.
I mean,
in soccer.
Soccer's brutal, and they have way less protection.
Yes.
Professional football.
You get to actually tackle people in rugby.
Yes.
So women still tackle. Yes. And people are way more interested in rugby now, which, Connor, I guess you win this fight for now. If he's going to listen, he's never going to listen. That rugby is much more popular in the media at the moment since the Olympics with Ilona Maurer, I think it's how you say her last name.
I remember I seriously look like I have a horn. I don't know what's happening. I remember it was one of the first times I came to Raleigh. I was like at a bar with a friend because I'm an adult. I can go to bars. And I went to the bathroom, and this woman comes out of the stall, and she just starts talking to me as I'm washing my hand. And she's like, "Oh my God, you should try out for a rugby team. You would have so much fun." I'm like, "Lady, what about my 105 pounds makes you think I should play rugby?" I mean, I'd do it, and I would probably hurt some people.
You should have.
I was like, okay, thanks. I don't live here. Because it was like within the year before he moved. But I was just like, okay, first off, people talk to you in the city. That's just not right. Richmond, no, you don't make eye contact. They might hurt you. It's gotten better. It didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, Richmond's still very different.
But it was just weird because I'm like, rugby? I didn't.
Also, if you're at a bar, women are very much more social.
Everybody here, and I will say it's the craziest thing living here. I'm used to it now because we've been here, 17, 18 years? Yeah. Oh.
I haven't been there that long.
But I'm used to all the people talking to you no matter what you're doing. I went to the grocery store today, And the poor guy working in the produce section is like, man, I spent so $300 some dollars on these glasses, and they're trifocals, and that. I was like, yeah, I know that's what I have on. He's like, and I can't even read what that thing says down. He's like, can you get down there and see what that says? And I was like, he's like, does it say something about a fajita? And I was like, it does. He's like, I can barely read that. And I'm like, if it helped, I had to squint, and I have on trifocals too. He's like, yeah. He's like, I can get the $8 bill. I'm like, okay, I'm
I
gonna
think the
walk
difference
away.
is a lot more of the Southern charm. You talk and smile and wave at everyone, and Richmond somehow
But
didn't have that.
but that's the thing. Raleigh, most of the people in Raleigh are
They're
not.
not. There's a lot of New Yorkers.
They're not from here. The people here aren't from here. They're from up north, so they don't have that.
Yes.
Where
I
we're
don't know,
from,
but that doesn't
and
happen up north, and that's why I'm weird here. It's like,
well,
oh, people are like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm just like, I want to keep walking. I don't want to stop and be smile. I'd fit in well in the north.
Richmond's way more southern than it is here.
I
Okay,
know it
well,
is, which is
currently
funny.
where I live currently is more southern, but
Yes.
Raleigh is nobody's in Raleigh is from Raleigh. They're from up
No.
north. So
Yes.
they're friendly. That whole southern hospitality thing doesn't make sense.
They wanted to be
It's
part of it, so they created it. I don't know.
it took me 5 or 6 years to not like flip out when strangers would talk to me.
I
Like,
was a child. I just still
it's
don't like it. I still don't do it.
I'm just used to it now, but I don't know what about me though, because I'm generally wearing a T-shirt that somehow says "Go away" in some way or another, and they still think they can talk to me, and I'm like, what about me makes you think that I want to talk to you? I mean, I'm going to, and I'm going to be very pleasant and very nice and very respectful, but I don't
You
need
don't want
you
to be
to.
social right now. Go
No.
away.
So, okay, I don't know how I got on that tangent, but go football.
Go
Uh,
sports.
so there are initiatives within the NFL. It's their diversity and equality. I know.
Does that still exist?
I don't know, because only some places got rid of it. So for years, for like
Because it's
7
only
years
federal
now.
places that have to get rid of it.
Yes. However,
Target got
Target
rid of
chose
it.
to. Yes.
Target got to.
Target. I think Walmart did too.
No, I think Walmart. No,
No, I think
Kroger
Walmart
kept
did
it though.
too.
Kroger kept it.
And so did Costco.
Yes, I got a Costco
Yes.
membership now.
Yes.
Gonna start getting my glasses there.
But yes, but the NFL has had, I don't know, like for 7 or 8 years, they've been doing this forum where it's women from around the country that are interested in trying to break into the NFL. It's less player positions, more coaching, health positions, advertising, lots of other
Yeah,
things.
I
But
think the last Super Bowl, as in 2024 Super Bowl, was the first female head coach at a Super Bowl or something like that. Something.
yeah, so it is getting women internships and breaking them into. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get to be the quarterback. But honestly, when you think about a quarterback's job, you kind of want them to be light on their feet, nimble, and I mean,
Speedy boys.
I may be a female talking about football, but I may have been a fan of a not even existent football team technically anymore because of the name change. But they did make it so far this season.
They did. I don't know how.
I don't think anybody ever knows. And there is such a stink with my students right now. They're like, Kansas City, there's something rigged. And I'm like, okay, was there something rigged when it was the Patriots doing this? Well, no, but that's different because da 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 da. I'm like, guys, really? Like, yes.
They were too young to know with the Patriots. They're in middle school.
Well, that's why I'm like going, you're arguing about this being, well, it's so many years in a row. Da, da. Okay. It comes in stages. Again, you know what my favorite football team is, and you all know that's just sad. So can we not?
The Commanders, I don't know how they beat the Lions,
like
but they did.
I don't like that name. I like the Washington football team better.
That's way better. The Commanders doesn't fit. Just
No,
stick with
it doesn't.
they did bad renaming, and they kept the same colors. If you're gonna do that, you change colors.
Well, it's because everybody has all this merchandise. Actually, I see so much Redskin merchandise in this town that I live in that looks brand new. Like there's tons of it, and I'm like, wait, we
But
can't
it's
wear
not the
that.
same name anymore. Just
I
change
know,
your
like you
stupid
can't
colors.
wear this anymore. I have everything I have. I think is in storage.
Yeah.
I think your
I
sister
don't
took
have anything.
something. Maybe your sister took something.
Piper's a Green Bay fan.
Well, that's because of your stupid father.
Yes, I know she matches her team because of her dad.
Yeah. I have faith she'll wise up at some point.
No, she won't. She's in her 20s. You think she's gonna switch teams?
Apparently Josh did, or at some point, because he's like a Dallas fan or something, and I don't know what, if he was just trying to make my dad angry or what.
Or because my aunt is a fan? Hanging out with them too much?
No, I think it happened before that.
Oh, I don't know.
So, I don't know. I don't know. Yay, football.
Go sports. I got hockey though. I got my Kraken.
A Cattern shirt.
Yay, cat. I got hockey.
Saturn. Cat turn.
I prefer hockey. Way more fun. They
Well,
also get to fight.
I prefer hockey. I loved field hockey. That was awesome. Granted,
I never got to play hockey.
Well, there aren't as many options here as there were when I was growing up.
No, not to mention the only chance I would have had, like that I actively took when I had the chance, was I don't know how many schools do this or how odd it is, especially for any international listeners, as we've had recently from Turkey. So there's the student teacher games for like the end of the quarter that my middle school did. Right? Yeah. And so in my 8th grade year, you got tickets for like being good. So like little tickets you get like a fair. And there was like a little school store, and for the 8th graders only, if you had like 250, you could sign up and buy your spot to play the teacher student floor hockey game. I was the only girl that signed up, which means they barely put me on the floor. But they did because I paid my 250 tickets or whatever to do it.
Wow, 8th grade seems so long ago.
Yeah, it does. For me. And I can't imagine for you.
Yeah, I was saying something about how pi, like, because we are doing volume of, cylinders and stuff, and we have to use pi, and what's the values of pi, and
pi is a great number.
Pi symbol is all of the digits, even the ones we don't know. 3.14 is just an estimate. But what if we added the other digits? Would it still be larger than 3.14? But then it's not going to be the same as pi symbol. And they're like, well, what are the other digits? And I was like, I don't know. But I bet you if you asked my daughter, she would tell you, because we were at a track and meet one year when she was in high school when it was Pi Day, because it was like a Saturday makeup game. It still ended up raining all day.
It was not a makeup game.
I thought it was a makeup thing.
It was not a makeup. It was the underclassmen meet. I did amazing. I think that's why I apparently was going to States. But that's a whole nother story. But yes, me and my high school boyfriend, being the nerds we are, were like, oh my gosh, your track meet is like half the day. So like the other half, we'll go make a pie for Pi Day. So I came home all cold and wet and tired because I did track. I did the relay, I did long jump, and I did high jump.
Yes,
and I did the.
Huh? I think you were supposed to be out there doing the long jump when it was going to be 3:14, and then like you're like, I'm not going to be able to see the seconds and everything, and I'm like, it's okay, you're gonna live.
I don't remember that. I just remember being so cold and just making my PR for the long jump at the time.
Well, that's what I remember, is you had to go do the long jump, and you were not going to be able to see the time when it hit the seconds. And I was like, it's really going to be fine. Just go. It's cold and rainy.
Because it was Pi Day 2015.
Go
No,
run.
it wouldn't have been Pi Day 2015.
No, it was 17. No, because it wasn't your senior year.
It was my sophomore year.
Then it had to be.
No, that was Pi Day 2015.
Then it would be 15. Then it would be 15. Yeah.
It was Pi Day 2015.
Yeah. Because I was
Because it's 3.1415926.
Yep. And that's what I said to them. I was like, it had to have been this year because the next two digits are 15. So I actually did tell the students about one of the classes, at least, about how you're a huge nerd and you were at a track meet. You were upset because you were going to miss the seconds because you had to go do the long jump. I was like, it was cold and rainy. I don't care.
I got a medal. I figured I was going to medal on long jump based off of my distance. But it wasn't until I talked to my coach after when I'm like, hey, I'm good to leave, right? I did all my events because it's cold and rainy. He's like, yeah. Here, this is for yours. And I'm like, because it's a big underclassmen meet. There was like 10 schools there.
That's why it took forever.
I know.
It's cold and rainy.
I know.
It's cold and rainy. And I was hungry. Well, I brought snacks because I always bring snacks.
I didn't think about food because I was busy on other things.
Well, now that we have told you way more stuff than you ever cared to know.
Story time, always.
Go do something extraordinary.